what are the top 3 considerations that any board should look out for when trying to attract talent to the senior leadership team? And here we're being careful because we work with so many boards who say they want to hire drivers. And we say, should the board be interviewing drivers, officers, principal officers, seniors, or should the board stick to the senior leadership team and then let the accounting officer or CEOs do the rest? So what are the top 3 considerations the boards should look out for?
Thanks. I think, and that's one of those questions where if you ask 5 people, you get 5 different answers. I think the first one I would pick, which is probably the most difficult to get right in the typical interview or recruitment setting, is getting leaders who are ethical. I've had discussions about this before where people say, but if you take them for training, and they may not be ethical coming in, but if you take them for training, if you expose them to the correct culture. You know, I was launching a culture roadmap just the other day, and one of the consultants who's Nigerian, he said, the Nigerians say, even if you take a lizard from Lagos to Washington, it's still a lizard. It doesn't become a crocodile. And I think what he was trying to say is that in many times the place does not make the people. The people make the place. So a good culture is good, but I think you really need to get ethical people in. And that's something you don't see from CVs. That's something you can have dinners with the executives and try and really get a feel of the people, but it's very difficult to really know who is ethical and who isn't. And usually when you find out, you're closing the door after the horse has bolted. So it's a bit of a tricky one. And I think, as I said, the guys who work in financial services here know exactly what I mean. Then I think the best leaders, and these are just my personal views, for what it's worth. The best leaders are leaders who have empathy and self-awareness. Because whatever role you have, you will always be learning. The first board I chaired was a very steep learning curve. I think the panelists here would also agree. It's not something that, even if you've gone for training, once you are actually in that role, you need to accept that there are many things you need to learn. After some time, of course, as in any role, it becomes easier. But that self-awareness that I do not know everything, however qualified I am, helps you grow as a leader. And it helps give you a good dose of humility as well. So I'd say humility, self-awareness, and empathy. As the poet said, every human being has to know you're never the richest, you're never the poorest. So you just have to have that desire to learn and improve. Now, a leader who displays those attributes has a great chance of growing, and when the leader grows, of course, the organization itself grows. So, you know, I remember somebody was, you know, the great man here. You also have to know yourself. Self-awareness is, you know, when somebody tells you, you know, you're joining the board of East African Breweries, you're filling Japheth's shoes. Those are big shoes. You have to tell them, no, no pressure. Please, those are his shoes. Let me come in with my small shoes. Yeah, because if you start trying to fill shoes, you can get lost in those shoes as well. So everyone, you have to just be aware of what you bring to the table. And everyone brings different things to the table. And I think the leaders who focus on that, try to iron out their weaknesses, but still are self-aware will succeed. And then in any leadership position, I'd say the third one would be taking responsibility and making decisions. I mean, everyone here was children. When you pay school fees, if a child got a D, you don't want them to come back and say, okay, I got a D, can you pay for next semester, you know? You want somebody to tell you, I got the D, I know why I got the D, I'm going to work on it and change that next semester, I'm getting a B. That's, I think, what every parent wants to hear. So you don't want somebody who never gets the D. Of course, that's unrealistic. But you want that degree of accountability, somebody who can take responsibility, make the correct decisions as far as they can, but still make decisions, because they will not always be correct. Sometimes you can be very quick at making decisions and they're all incorrect. I remember Japheth was talking about some accountants who have creative thinking, and I was getting very worried. I was thinking, isn't that what led to the Enron meltdown? So, I mean, maybe there's another way of phrasing it. I think there are some professions we don't want any creativity. Yeah. Lawyers, accountants, things like that. But here I can speak. I'm protected. Any lawyer jokes, hopefully I will not suffer privately for them. So, those would be the three I would pick. Yes. Rachel, I think it's very important that you know yourself. You try and work with integrity to the best of your ability. Yes. And you take responsibility for the things you do, whether they're right or wrong, because very often they'll be wrong. But as long as you made it with the best intentions, to the best of your ability and skill set, I think those leaders usually come out ahead.
Thank you, Felix, for that. And I like the fact that you did not talk about technical expertise at all. Because boards are now hiring 80% people skills and emotional intelligence, from what you're saying, and probably 20% technical.
Yeah, I didn't mention it because I'm not tech savvy, yes. So I thought that would be outing myself as not a desired leader, so I just left it out. But it's good to have.
Yes, yeah. But in terms of the requirement to have 3 masters and a PhD and 5 degrees, as opposed to being self-aware, humble, and being able to demonstrate empathy, what we hear from you is focus more on the emotional intelligence aspects in particular. Yes. And because you're managing young people now, the young people say to us, we're tired of our CEOs and our board members reminding us that do you know I'm a board member? Do you know I'm a CEO? Let your results speak for you.
I think, Rachel, in that, it's also one of the biggest challenges that you face when you're on a board, is that the team you're overseeing is actually quite young. Exactly. I think younger people prefer flatter structures, so the old hierarchy where the board is here and everyone else is there doesn't work very well, even in your oversight role. You need to understand the people you're overseeing, what's going on. So even board members, board chairs have to shift to a more, for lack of a better word, a flatter structure and a flatter approach that allows honest discourse, allows very open feedback, etc. So it's also a challenge on boards as well, to be able to adapt to the shifting landscape.
Yes.
So.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Felix.